think the challenges were generally just to keep a movie that would be true to the book, because the way the book is written, there's a lot going on internally, and there's a lot of family dynamics, and it's just the kind of stuff that you generally don't see in a studio film. And so to get it made in a way that would preserve sort of the smartness of it and the emotional consistency of it without turning it into something broader or bigger or more farcical, I think that was probably finding the exact right tone was probably the largest challenge.
Directors kind of audition sometimes. I came to this as a fan of the book. I read the book 5 years ago, is that about? Yeah. And I immediately tracked down the producer, Paula Weinstein, who had optioned it, and I tracked down Jonathan, and I kind of became a bit of a stalker fan of Mr. Tropper. But at that time, I was making Night at the Museums, and I was making Date Night, and frankly, just as actors sometimes get a little pigeonholed in a perception, the feeling was, yeah, we love that you love this book, but you kind of do big movies, and this feels like a small movie. And it kind of nothing came of it. And then the movie almost got made over 5 years with different actors, different directors. And there was a moment about a year and a half ago where it was a free ball, and I jumped on it because I'd been waiting and hoping, and it was every bit as gratifying to make as I suspected it would be.
Yes, I think it works, and I felt very close to my character. I mean, I was often the killjoy of the group, but it was certainly fun to be the one always putting Adam Driver's character to task, because he's so lovable in the role, but also so infuriating, so I think the audience will feel the same way.
I was only involved to the point where Shawn would send me these texts and say, Tina wants to do it, and then I'd get very excited.
I started with Tina, and from there on down, I knew that every actor in the movie needed to be able to pivot between poignant and comedic. I couldn't just get comedians. I couldn't just get straight dramatic actors. The tone of the movie, as Jonathan said, tone is everything in this. And so the tone in each performance has to be similarly blended. So I picked actors that I was a fan of. And I started at Tina. And then really I imagined who would be the dream person in that part. And I asked them if they wanted to do it, and thankfully they said yes. In a few cases, Corey being one, Jane Fonda being another, it was an actor coming in and just reading a scene or two. And this, by the way, Jane Fonda, who certainly doesn't need to audition for anything, but wanted to audition. You didn't know this, right?
No idea.
Jane reached out to me and said, look, I know I might get this part, I might not, but I want this part. So I want you to let me audition, and I want to show you that I should be Hillary. And I was like, you have 2 Academy Awards in your living room. You really don't need to prove anything here. She goes, I want this part, and I'm going to fight for it. And she came in, and it was Bateman, me, and Jane in a room. We read some scenes, and she fought for it, and she got it.
No, I was asked very politely to audition, but I jumped at the chance, and knowing who was in the cast, who I don't think everybody was in the cast yet, but already I think Tina and Jason were there, and I'm such huge fans of both of them, and the experience was everything that I was hoping it would be. A lot of times between takes, everybody just goes away to their trailer, but just in terms of the way the set was, it was really too far away from base camp for everybody to go away. So we had the whole cast.
Nobody left.
Yeah, very often just upstairs. We were shooting in this house in Long Island, and we were all up in the bedroom upstairs with like the funniest, most brilliant people. So it was really fun.
Yeah, for me, I know that this was my first experience of getting a movie made, and I know I've been spoiled because, this was a movie where, first of all, there was a director who welcomed me to be part of the process, and I was on set a lot, and none of the actors were in any way differentiated from any of the other ones, and there was a real sense of community and the idea that everyone was making this movie together. And now that's my sense of how movies get made, and I'm sure that when my next
wildly inaccurate.
I know, I'm sure when my next one gets made, I'm going to be like traumatized beyond belief at just how different it is. But this really felt like everyone had the same energy of we're taking something, that we don't normally do, and we're all going to do it together. And there was a real sense of cooperation and community.